You're listening to Natural AF, the podcast exposing suppressed truths about health, reality, and human potential. I'm your host, Isaac. I'm the founder of Natural Art Form, and I'm joined by my Australian co-host and partner, Alexa, a Site K facilitator and human design coach. If you're ready to challenge the status quo and explore how the world really works while staying grounded in your deepest purpose, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining us. Let's get Natural AF. All right, we are back, folks. Welcome back to Natural AF. I'm your host, Isaac.
And I'm Alexa.
And we're so grateful to be here. We're so grateful to be back. I hope everyone had a great New Year's, great Christmas. If you celebrate that, Kwanzaa, for those down in Africa. I hear it's a little bit different.
This is our first episode back for 2026. It's our first time taking a break, although you technically did take like a year off.
This is the first break I've ever taken in my life.
Well, yeah, it was the first break we took since relaunching in 2024. Yeah, we relaunched at the end of 2024 and we went for just over a year. We just smashed out the interviews. We had a great time.
Yeah, it was like, what was it, mid-24? Was it March, something like that?
No, it was towards the end. It was, I think, October from memory.
Oh, that's right. It was after the LFM festival.
Yeah, it was after the festival.
And for those that don't know, to catch you up, I started this in America, Natural AF, when I started my business, Natural Art Form. And it was good. It was just me. And I interviewed a few people, had some basic equipment, and then shut down for a year and moved to Australia.
A lot more happened in that time, but
Sure, I'm giving the short form.
Yeah.
And then I relaunched after I met the lovely Alexa. And if you can't tell, we're together. Yep. Seeing that one over there.
She's mine.
Yeah, the program took a few giant steps forward. So it's been fun interviewing other guests. Some of the guests we had that I'd interviewed on my own previously, we interviewed them together.
Yeah,
and
that
had
was
great
fun.
conversations. And up until this point, the conversation or the podcast has been largely like long form conversational. But we want to mix it up. We're doing some changes. We're going to have some shorter episodes like this one today. The topics that we cover this show, Natural AF, as you can tell by the title, is really about what is just the true, pure, natural, whatever being. We'll talk about food. We talk about health. We talk about societal conditioning, personal conditioning, emotional stuff. And if you were listening last year with this show, you know, we talked about spiritual stuff. We had some friends on talking about those subjects.
Yeah, we really cover all aspects of health because even though, you know, at Natural Art Form, we make, or Isaac makes physical products for the body, he does them with so much more intention than just I'm making a product for the body. He literally puts his intention into it for healing, and we understand the importance of spirituality, our emotional health, our mental health. And we don't believe that health is just a two-dimensional looking at the physical body. And, you know, we both came to that belief and understanding that on a much deeper level because of our own personal experiences. And so that's what we cover here. Like, we really do want to cover, and we do cover such a wide range of topics because health is so multifaceted. It's not just about the physical, and it's not just about the metaphysical either. They really go hand in glove, and you really can't have one without the other. So we talk about it all here.
Yeah. And what you're looking forward to this year, we'll go a little bit more in depth with certain things. And what we're going to space out some of our longer interviews. And in between those interviews, Alexa and I will go deep on some topics. But, you know, what, 40 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah, look, we're going to aim to do...
We both can talk, so
yeah,
it could be still
exactly.
like an
In
hour.
human design, we both have defined throats, so we have a lot to say. Yeah, we really want to just... have some time. Like, we want to express more of who we are. It is our show, and a lot of people say that to us, a lot of our listeners. And so those episodes will be a little bit shorter, you know, like 45 minutes to an hour max, but we want to keep them at around 45 minutes. And yeah, we want to share more about our personal experiences on certain topics. We also want to explore some more topical things that come up. There's a lot going on in the world. And while this isn't a news show, there's definitely things that come up that we do have a lot to say about and give our own perspectives on and insights. And so we really do want to highlight that. And as a part of that, we want our listeners to suggest topics that you want to hear us speak on or that you want us to cover, as well as what interviews you'd like to hear or guests you'd like us to have on, but we will be spacing those out so that instead of doing weekly interviews with guests, we'll be doing them fortnightly, or in the States, I think you guys call it bi-weekly. So every second week, and then in between those interviews, it'll just be Isaac and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the conversation where you want to hear back, your feedback, what kind of topics you want to cover, hit us up on Substack. That's probably the easiest way. Socials, like comments on the videos we put out, is fine too.
Yeah. Or you can DM us on socials, but Substack is where the podcast pretty much goes out from first. And that's all they're like our core listeners. Like everyone subscribes on Substack because that's where you're going to get the episodes first.
Yeah. And I do have an intention this year to do some more on Substack, maybe to go a little more in depth with articles and things like that. So we shall see, because we really do, like, we get into some interesting things. We lead a very different life. We're not full on homesteaders. Like, we don't have a huge garden and all this stuff, but we are very connected to nature. We live in the bush in the northern rivers in Australia. And, right now, like for instance, right now we've got bunya. You can't quite see it, but I set up a little thing in the background here. The bunya is in season. So I've been having fun hanging out with friends and integrating with my community some of this. And it's like, how to pick the bunya, what to do with it, the little experiments that I've done and how that affects the group and the socials. Like when I went and picked these from our friend Sean, they literally had burning, like a burn pit sort of thing going on, just a bit of brush that they were burning. And we were throwing some of the bunya husks on the fire. And I've noticed that smoke keeps away the mosquitoes. And I told him that a couple years ago. He totally forgot who told him that. And so that's what he was doing when I walked up there. And I was like, that's great. I like having an impact, sharing things that are useful.
Yeah.
And he's working on this property that's got thousands of bunya trees.
Anyone that knows Isaac knows, like, he's the bunya guy now. Like, he came to Australia in 2023 and discovered the bunya, and then his 3-5 profile in human design just came to play, experimenting with it and
it's like
finding
a chestnut.
finding different ways to use it, and now he's known as the bunya guy.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a bunya episode, but just so because people are like, oh, what are you talking about?
That's the bunya
This
nut.
seed comes out of this giant green cone. I don't know if you can see. I got my little pointer here. You can see this like giant green pine cone. This thing is what our friend Billy told me. This one right here, that's like a third the size of the big ones that he gets.
Oh, wow.
He's got some really old trees.
So for anyone
this thing
listening,
is as big as my head.
If you're not watching right now, they're kind of like a really huge pineapple, like probably like double the size of a pineapple, and apparently that's a small one.
Do not taste like pineapple.
No, they do not taste like pineapple. They kind of look like it a little bit.
So it's a seed. It's kind of like a mix between a peanut, or not a peanut, a chestnut and a potato, sort of.
Yeah, it's a weird consistency inside, but they're interesting little things because you've done a lot of playing around with them. But that's one of the things that I want to do. I'm like, I'd love to make like a gnocchi out of it because it's got like this starchy potatoey texture. But then when Isaac's dried it out, he's been able to make flour out of it. And then that's got so many uses. So
yeah, it makes a really decent flour. I'm not an expert cook. I don't know the difference between different flours and how you cook with them and stuff. But I've been able to make crackers with it, pancakes. I tried making a, what was it, like a crumbed crust or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Shortbread type thing.
Yeah.
Tastes really good. You put put enough butter with anything, it tastes good.
Yeah, and grits. Your version of grits with the bunya, that's probably my favorite.
I think I might try to do that with this again, try to recreate. I did it by accident.
Yeah.
By overcooking the bunya and then trying to blend them up, and it almost broke the blender. But what I love about this and why this is part of this show, it's like, to me, it's an aspect of community that we've lost. So traditionally, but there is still, I believe, a bunya festival in the Bunya Mountains in Queensland, which is tropical or subtropical. And the indigenous here, literally, like, you come together, like we were sitting around yesterday around this fire, just taking them out of the shell, just popping the bunya out. And then it's a bit of work to process it, but it is an abundant food source. There's so many bunya that probably go to waste. They just drop and rot.
Well, the indigenous call it mother's milk, don't they? Isn't that the term for it?
Yeah. And maybe even the translation of it is something like that, or they have a different word for it. But yeah, it's kind of like a nourishing food source. I'm not really sure what nutrient makeup is in it. There's carbs for sure, probably a bit of protein, but it's like, It's antibacterial. So once you blend it up and make the flour, it keeps for over a year in the fridge pretty well. So it's pretty stable. I don't know how it goes outside of that, but that's important. If you find yourself in an area up here, if you're in Australia and you have these bunya trees and they're just dropping, you can make a food source that you can add or a supplement to your food that's essentially free. It's just dropping and nobody really cares. They just leave it. You can find it right now actually on Facebook Marketplace. I've seen people giving away free bunya.
No way.
Yeah. So if you're in this part of the world, or they might even ship it to you. I don't know. But check it out. Try it out. And there's a couple of videos on YouTube. You can Google it. You YouTube it pretty easily to figure out how to process them.
Or just reach out to Isaac. He'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you right now. It's super simple. You just take this sequiturs. I don't know what you call them in the States, but just some kind of big, heavy pruning snips. You can just cut these lengthwise in half. Or I just take a big sharp knife and I just kind of chop it in half, pop it in the dehydrator, and that's it. And then the little nut inside this shell comes out pretty easily after it's dehydrated. Mm-hmm. And then you keep it in like a jar like that, or you can put it in a blender and blend it into flour. Simple.
Natural AF, the home of bunya tips.
Yeah, I've gone a little bunya crazy, but there's something that spiritually connects to this show as well about it. I was talking to our friend Jessica at the Markets, who's the artist.
We've had Jessica Jasmine on as a guest.
No, different Jessica.
Oh.
The other artist.
Oh, yes. Oh, there's just so many artists around here.
So she's indigenous, but she was telling me about, when we've talked about this, when, especially for ancient foods, like this is like a prehistoric thing. It's like a dinosaur-sized pine cone.
If dinosaurs existed.
Exactly.
That's up for contest, yeah.
That's for a later episode. When you eat these foods, there's information in it, right? There's potentially, you could call it memory. And when you eat these things, you're taking in some of that memory, some of that food into your system and the cells, and that becomes part of you. So that whole idea, you are what you eat, there's some truth to it. And the indigenous actually believe that, really. Yeah. Like when you eat these things, whether it's plants or animals, that you're actually taking in a part of that thing's spirit. Mm-hmm. And if you want to hold on to certain memories or reconnect with the land, eat stuff from the land and you're connecting to it. So
yes, we digress.
We don't want to go on too long in this episode. So we do want to get into some of our main topics, which is kind of a wrap up or like a look back at the past year.
Yeah, because we took this break and it was really good because we knew that we wanted to change up the show, but we weren't sure exactly how we were going to do that. And I think taking a step back and actually, not recording, not doing interviews for a little bit, we were able to, I feel like for me, it just dropped in. It was like, just became so clear because I didn't have to like think and try and figure it out. And so we were reflecting on, the year and a bit that was. And
fast.
And
year ripped through.
Yeah. And we did so many amazing interviews. Like we actually did want to pick like a top 3 each. And it was so hard. So what we've decided to do, because we both actually have our favorite interview ever was the same. Mm-hmm. So we will tell you about that in a minute. So do you want to start or do you want me to start with some of the highlights?
Well, I want to start off with our first, was it the first recorded episode of 2025? Was Barbara O'Neill.
Yeah, that was the first one we recorded last year. Yeah.
So Barbara O'Neill had an opening. We took advantage of the opportunity. Our friend let us know, hey, she's got an opening. So interviewing her was kind of a full circle moment for me on the natural health and remedies side. I haven't followed her super, super closely, but she was one of the first people that when I looked up natural remedies for anything, XYZ, allergies, whatever, I came across some of her videos and it was just like, wow, this lady's got a nice, simple thing. It's stuff you can do at home. It reinforces some stuff that I learned from my mother, some stuff that we learned from my grandparents. So but it's just about easy access, explained simply. And then I started making my own remedies and stuff years later. But always remembered Barbara O'Neill. She's iconic basically at this point. Yeah,
absolutely. Especially when it comes to natural health.
Yeah. And what I didn't realize was that until I moved here, until I realized, that she was Australian. when at first, I think I probably thought she was New Zealand because I think she was recording at a church in
Or
New
English.
Zealand.
She probably thought she was a pom. Like, you had
I had
no idea.
It's like French. Who's this French lady? No. Sorry, Barb. But when I moved here, I learned that she had been banned from teaching about natural remedies and health and stuff in Australia with the threat of prison. They take things pretty seriously. At least they make it sound that way here.
Well, yeah.
But she still writes books. She still has YouTube videos, and it's very helpful with the stuff that she's sharing. So
Yeah.
check that episode out.
Oh, yeah. That was, I mean, of course, it's Barbara O'Neill. Like, that was such a highlight. And the fact that it was so unexpected, like, I still remember the day that we got the call. It was actually a day very similar to this. I remember we were just kind of hanging around the house. It was holiday time. It was just after, like, the week after New Year's. And yeah, we were just hanging around the house, not really doing much. And our friend was like, hey, Barbara's got a spot open. Can you be on in we had 45 minutes to get ready. We were just like, yes. So, and we only had an hour with her. But what I loved so much about interviewing Barbara is that she just is who she is. Like, she's so authentic. Like, what you see, you know, in her videos when she's teaching, to her interviews, to, you know, when we were talking to her off air, she just is who she is, and she's just such a beautiful soul. Like, I don't think anyone can argue that about Barbara. Like, she's just so genuine. You can tell that she's very much guided by spirit and just wanting to be of service to people. And I think she's also such a beautiful example of when you do that, like, look at how big she's become. Like, she didn't do it for the followers and for the fame and for people to know her name. She did it because she just wanted to help people, and look at how she's blown up. And I think that that's such a beautiful example of that, because that's what we should be. I don't even want to say the word chasing, but that's what we should be focusing on, being of service to others and not all the other stuff, because that stuff doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Being of service is a very critical, I think, path of growth in an individual. And it's good to see people like her that model it so well.
Yeah, so that was definitely a highlight, having good old Barb on.
Yeah, what about you?
Oh, man, I just honestly, trying to pick my top 3 was so hard. And then we were like, no, let's just give some honorable mentions. And even that, my list for that is so long. But I definitely have to mention, I honestly don't know where to start. But Christopher Kay was one of my favorite interviews because we got recommended by a friend of ours who also has or had a podcast and had interviewed him. And she said, get Christopher Kay on. He's great. You'll love him. And I was like, all right, cool. And I'd seen some of his clips going around on Instagram about Unveiling and this film that he's making. And I just, that interview for me was so much fun. And I think even some of the clips we posted on Instagram, we were having a laugh and it was just so much fun. And we've kept in touch with Chris ever since. And, you know,
he's a great guy. He's really funny.
He's awesome. And
really
again,
passionate about what he's doing.
Yeah. And so genuine and so switched on, and just, you know, it's actually funny. We always say he's a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn moon, and I actually have a stellium in Capricorn. So I have lots of planets and things in Capricorn. And we just have such a similar nature. We also share some lineage, which, I'm just like, and that's why I literally call him my brother from another mother, because he literally feels like, you know, when you just meet someone, you're like, it's soul family. That's how Chris feels to me. And I love what he's doing with this film and just doing it completely independently. And I'm all for it. And I just love that interview. It was so much fun.
Yeah. Still looking forward to that release date for that film. And then I'm just, hopefully we'll get some time. I know he's super busy, but I was like, I would love to just do a sketch or something with that guy. Just like a short series. I had one idea recently that I was like, oh, that would be so funny, but it needs to be shot well and
yeah, Isaac always wants a professional setup, even just for a 2-minute skit.
Well, with the right guys, just 2 people, 3 people maybe, you could film something pretty quickly that's high quality, that's just super funny. Yeah. And Chris he's a funny dude. Just check out some of his shorts. He's
on YouTube. Oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one.
What's another one for you?
Well, I think I was just thinking about this, what were some of the ones to me that resonated with what I think are some really key things that people should hone in on, whether that fits with all the transformation we're going through, all the turmoil coming out of, there's so many people we know. I mean, everybody's got some kind of story about some kind of like childhood trauma or, bad, relationships or patterns that they've like negative patterns that they've lived and have either overcome or are looking to overcome. And we had a few episodes that really, really touched on that. So it was hard to pick a favorite one. For me, even just that one clip that we made of Stephen Lair's episode to me was really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And his book is good, but yeah, I've done a bit of work with Stephen who does emotion code, and just learning and understanding how that works, how your body traps, or how your energetic field and your body trap emotions, and how that can show up in your life, especially when it's repressed or it's things that happened, whether you experienced it or someone in your family lineage experienced it and then trapped it, and how important it is and how amazing it is that we can go back and release that trapped emotion. And whether you believe in this or not, like, this isn't really a religious show. We don't hold to any specific religion. I grew up Christian. I've read the Bible. I read the Bible. My beliefs about it have changed, but I do believe that because I lived it, my father's experience with, a past relationship mirrored and echoed into my life almost identically with a different person. It was
without having any conscious knowledge of it.
I didn't. Yeah. I was never told anything about my dad's previous relationship. Didn't really understand it. It was, not in my conscious memory, but I lived it out. And then I had these other patterns that kept showing up, and it's like, yes, how many times do people go through that? How many times have you had, I've heard this from other women, like, I just attract assholes. I just attract the bad boy. Or
I just attract narcissists. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Well, dig into that episode with Stephen Lair and others, the Psych K stuff. We talked a little bit about that.
Well,
there's a few people that we interviewed that talked about that same thread. And in this show, it's kind of becoming a golden thread that connects some really key conversations.
Yeah, because again, I think we talk about it so much because we've had our own personal experiences where we've seen that play out, and we've also healed from a lot of it. And, the healing always, we're always going to be healing. But when you have that contrast, I think you can see it so much more clearly, where like you were in it and then you healed from it and you're removed from it and you're just like, whoa, like it just becomes so clear. But I actually want to say, because I recently had an emotion code session with Stephen. So I've had ongoing shoulder pain actually really for like the last decade. I actually injured my shoulder just like training at the gym, like did too heavy weights or something. And it kind of gave me a bit of grief for a few years, and then it kind of felt like it was fine. And then, but in the last sort of couple of years, I've just always had like this shoulder pain that comes and goes, and it alternates sides. So sometimes it's my left side, sometimes it's my right side. And it's so deep, like especially in the last like 6 to 8 months, every time I get it, it's such a deep pain where like if Isaac's rubbing, I'm like, I feel like it's just nothing can get deep enough. And I was like, this has got to be some deep emotional thing. I could just sense it. So I went and did an emotion code session, and Steve also does trapped traumas now in the sessions as well. So we're working with trapped emotions and any trapped traumas. And so I had about 5 days body processing time. So even just before and after the session, I felt a difference. And then by a week later, no pain whatsoever. Like no pain, no tension even. I carry a lot of tension there a lot of the time, and completely gone. And that's actually the first time I've done an emotion code session on physical pain, physical body pain. I've normally done like just situations in my life.
You want to talk about what the trapped trauma was?
Well, like I can't really remember all of them, but one of the trapped traumas was barren. So a barren, so we often hear barren referred to as like if you're barren and you can't have children. It sometimes relates to that. It doesn't always, but it's really just like this, a trauma of being alone. And it was trapped in my grandfather on my dad's side, the Serbian side. And it was trapped in him at 12 years old. Now, unfortunately, he's passed and I don't know what was going on in his life at that time, but I do know about the war and that they did live through that when Yugoslavia was being broken up, and then when it was split up and all the wars between the different countries. And so I imagine it's probably something to do with that. I mean, it makes sense. Barren, alone, being cut off from everyone. Like there was probably something to do with that, especially if his father fought in the war, which I imagine he probably did. So yeah, really interesting, the stuff that comes up and the way that you can even pinpoint like where it was trapped, what age it was trapped in that person. And then, yeah, how it plays out in you. It's very, very interesting and very, very powerful mode of healing for sure.
Yeah, I think there's, a lot of people probably have that somewhere in their lineage. Mine, I know we probably have that. But anyone that's been warlike, the Danes are getting pretty close to finding out what that's like. If you haven't been keeping up with the news.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't keep up with the news at all.
I just think it's so Trump wants to take Greenland. He wants to buy Greenland.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
The Danes are like, we will fight you. It's like, don't do it.
Like the Danish? Isn't
Denmark.
that Denmark? Yeah.
Don't fight the U.S. over Greenland.
Yeah. Is it really worth it?
Yeah, I don't care. I know that there's probably levels and layers to this. There's probably even like spiritual stuff going on. Greenland is very interesting. We don't have enough time to talk about that.
No.
But I'm just saying, like, I was in the military. I get there's a certain like pool to like want to go and find some like champion some kind of like battle, some kind of fight, but that leads to barren trauma. Like that leads to just like devastation in villages, especially when you get like some really badass warriors that don't mess around and they just go through and just everyone. So let's not keep repeating that, please.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, but you mentioned Psych K, having Rosie Pletzer on, my Psych K instructor. I've done all my training with her, all my Psych K workshops with her. She's amazing. I love that episode too.
Psych K itself, I tell a lot of people about it. Hardly anybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
So, and that was something you introduced me to. And I've had some profound experiences with that. And then being able to have your teacher on, Rosie.
Yeah.
And that was a great episode. And just, for those that are drawn to it, definitely check that out. It'll change your life. Psych K is incredible.
Yeah, it is pretty good. And if you do want a session, reach out to me because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Some more honorable mentions. I'll just kind of run through them because we could be here all day if we went through all the ones that we loved so much. And mind you, I've loved pretty much every episode. We've had so many of our friends on that I know. Linton Cummins, who we had on, he also did some workshops at the Last Living Free Festival and everyone loved them.
Yeah, he was on my list for top 3.
Yeah.
At one point I was just changing things around, but Linton, interesting guy. He's like, what do you call him? It's
polymath.
I was going to say multipath. Like there's a homeopath, there's a naturopath,
and a multipath.
He's a multipath. He doesn't do like the health side on that, but he's like, well, does he need 2 tuning forks?
No.
I'm sure he probably does.
Maybe. Linton, that's
he probably made his own tuning fork out of like metal smelting.
Yeah. Well, that's a polymath, is like someone that knows a lot of.
I'm coining that here though. Multipath.
What is it? Has knowledge on a lot of things. I think that's the translation. I'm not 100% sure.
Shout out to all my multipaths out there. If you haven't decided which healing modality you wanted to stick with and you just done, you did energy, you did Reiki, you did, Bowen therapy. You're a multipath.
It sounds like a manifesting generator could also be known as a multipath. The path of multiple things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take that and run with it. That's in the conscious vocabulary now.
Yeah, but Linton was great. And again, just like someone that he's not out there, he doesn't have a website, he does not doing things that people know about, but when you talk to him, he's so full of knowledge and not just like knowledge that you read in a book. It's like things that he's actually done himself and he speaks from experience, and he's just he's incredible. Like having Ranger Nick on, like he's also
that was fun. Like just knowing Ranger Nick, meeting him here in Australia, I'm like that's it. Like I can go home now. I can go back to the States. I've met the Australian.
Yeah. And it's and it's interesting. What was hard for me was so many of my favorite episodes were like personally for me, like I don't know I'm sure Isaac did enjoy them as much as I did, but there was so many amazing women. So it was interesting. When I picked my top 3, I only had 1 female in there. And then when we decided not to do a top 3, like everyone I wrote down we had so many incredible women on. So I have to mention Rachel Vaughan because I did her psychic development course, and we've now both had readings with her, and she's just the most beautiful woman. And we met her at the Last Living Free Festival, and She's
She's
just
much taller than I expected. She's a tall lady.
She's definitely it was funny because actually meeting her in person, she's definitely got like an elemental vibe to her. Like I think and obviously she's so spiritually tapped in and just an incredible soul, like what she's experienced in this life and how she's transmuted that into, you know, the work that she does and helping people and the message that she's really putting into the world. Like loved her episode. I could speak to Rachel anytime. Love her. Also love Georgina Grace's episode, Numerology, so up my alley. Love her, like just love what she teaches.
Episode.
Yeah. Also, I loved having Amelie on. Have I said her? I always say her name wrong. So she's also from the bear community. And
Copper Bear.
Yeah, she was another one that we did that episode.
I kind of forgot about that. That was an incredible episode.
That was an awesome episode. And she's also a reflector in human design. So she's actually the first reflector I've ever met. And I can't wait to meet her in person because I just want to be in the energy of a reflector just to like feel I've never met a reflector before. And they're just like this anomaly, like they're less than 1% of the population. And that's literally, they have all open centers in the body graph and they're literally always reflecting back their environment. And, you know, in terms of people, like they're always reflecting back to you what you are. So
I want to put that in a shirt or something for her. It's like Amelie, but anomaly.
I know. I love it. Yeah. And what she has to share. And that is the beauty of reflectors. Like they have so much wisdom to share because they're always sampling energy. And so as long as they're in a good environment, like, I mean, even if they're in a not so great environment, they just have such an incredible insight into like what's really going on, you know, around them and around us.
I get the sense that she's kind of an advanced spiritual soul. Like, is that the right word? Spiritual soul. Did I say that right, folks? Like, I could imagine if you're like on meth as a reflector, totally different story.
Yeah,
very
no good.
Different
well,
outcome.
that's why environment's very important. And it does make me curious actually about reflectors that aren't in a great environment and how they're doing physically and mentally, because I imagine it's not great. But Amelie just had so many great things to share. And like it was one of those conversations that we literally could have spoken for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
So I loved her episode. Man, so many. Valerie, who we had on, you know, fairly recently, like the last couple of months of last year. Love Valerie, love everything that she does, love her work. I just love who she is. She's so authentic. And such a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. Like, you know, she literally is a mentor. And I think she's also got a 5-line similar to you. And that's, totally see her in that 5-line energy, which does come with this leadership energy. And for any new listeners here, I also work with human design. So when I start talking about human design related things, I just can't help myself because I find it so fascinating and how these different elements of human design play out in people. But loved Valerie's episode. I have to mention Melissa Kupsch from Remedy. You know, we've been to a couple of Remedy events now. We did the Harmonic Folk Festival in November. Yeah. They teamed up with Kater and Barney Miller, who we also had on the podcast. And that was such a great event. And just what they're doing as well, just the same, just really bringing homeopathy to the wider world. And you know, Melissa's such a great speaker and just an amazing woman as well. So
it was an honor meeting her in person at the Remedy Collective event with Kata and Barney up in the Sunny Coast. That was really cool. Very grateful. Got to see their ranch and it's cool. I really like the vibe that they're creating. They've got got all these lovely ladies and like the energy is just like that taking care of the home, taking care of the kids, taking care of the family through homeopathy. And really embodying this, I don't know, just like all the parts about femininity in a family environment that just makes it great and makes other people like attracted to it. You know, like guys like, oh, I want to get a wife like that. Things like that, where it's like what you were doing, your mom, like just, I feel so lucky that I have women in my life and around me that do this, where they're actually taking the initiative, not trying to, you know, be a man or push the men out or this kind of fight. It's like, we're going to heal. We're going to help heal our families.
Yeah.
You know, your mom's doing homeopathy and learning that. And it's just like, she wants to take care of her grandbabies. And that's a driving force that literally she's like up sometimes like all night, you know, doing this course.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. I love seeing women come alive with that and seeing where they can take it. Because when you have women that are focused like Alexa and they want to get something done, they'll juggle 15 different things, still get dinner on, still do the laundry, and like, yeah, just knock it out of the park. So we're really lucky to have these incredible women.
Yeah. And also what I love about Melissa is like, I think she can, like, people, like, she might come off to some people as like, you know, this like powerhouse woman that's like, I don't know, like above everyone or whatever. Cause like she kind of is that, but like she's actually so real. Like, again, like when you're in her presence, she's so genuine and so authentic and so down to earth. Like I actually can't emphasize how down to earth she is. And
yeah, she's got that like alpha chick vibe, alpha woman vibe.
Very much so, very much. And I think people can be intimidated by that. But when, like, I have never felt intimidated in her presence because she's just so real.
Yeah, and she's warm. Like she's,
she's beautiful. Love Mel. And last one I'm going to mention, because this was a bit of a controversial one, was Nellie Barnett's episode.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about masculine and feminine dynamics from a German new medicine perspective. Super interesting. And for me personally, it just like it makes sense and resonates for me what she was saying. But I know that, in the interview that we first heard Nellie speaking about this on, the lady that was interviewing her was getting quite triggered throughout the conversation by certain things. And I can totally see that, like no judgment. Because honestly, if I had that if I had heard that conversation, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I would have been the same. I would have been like, I'm not a man's property. I'm not like, why? Men should be criticized. Like, I just would have been so
I love that because
resistant.
I can feel that because it's in the consciousness so thick right now. Is this feminism,
Feminist, yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Feminism programming.
Yeah.
The feminism programming shatters when you really start looking at what is masculine and feminine. Like, what are they like on an energetic level? It goes beyond what you believe it should be, what you think it should be.
Yeah.
And you can see it with kids often.
Yeah.
But what she was saying about like men's property, I'm like, it's so funny. That's like
territory. It's not property, but
same thing. It's like man has his territory, his house, potentially his job, his work, his business, but his physical environment, like territory.
And his woman and his children and like
But if you don't have that, what do you get when a man loses his territory? You get this devastation. You get more of that barren trauma. Like, it can potentially get like full on.
Well, that's why I think I love that. Like, I love what Nellie teaches on this. And she also works with someone else, Sasha. I can't remember his surname, but yeah, who she teaches this with, they actually have, and I am dying to do the Freya course because that's for women and learning this. And then Sasha does the men's group. And I think it's so important to learn this stuff and like have a different perspective. It doesn't mean it has to be the be all and end all, but like to have a different perspective on it. That I think for men, like it does make sense why when men, go through divorces. And again, I think I'm speaking more to men here because men generally don't express their emotions in the same way that women do. And so when you're losing a family, so to speak, even if they're still seeing their children and whatever, I think that's where we do see a lot of like dysfunctional behavior play out in men. And if you're not fully conscious of why that's happening and how to sort of rectify it in the best way that you can while healing from whatever you're going through, I think it can be much harder to navigate those things. But, then obviously in our chat with Nellie, we were talking more about it from in a relationship, how it plays out. And because obviously we shared a lot about our dynamic and it just makes so much sense to me. And it's funny because we even see it now. And that's what I actually love about it too. It's given me more, I don't know if I would use a word like a tool to work with, but ever since we had that conversation with her, I'm so mindful of when I can come across as criticizing you. And I think it's happened a couple of times where I'm just like, and I see like the change in you or vice versa, because you've said something to me recently. And straight after you're like, I'm not saying that to criticize you because I started to get defensive and go into that masculine, which is what she talked about. It's like when the woman gets criticized, she goes into the masculine. And when the man gets criticized, he goes into the feminine. And it's just like, I just can't unsee that now. Like it literally, that's what happens. So it's very, very interesting. So if you haven't listened to that episode, highly recommend it. And no trigger warnings here, but you might get a little bit triggered.
Yeah. It's not to say that you can't criticize or you can't be open and honest with somebody and be like, I need to tell you this because this is a problem and it's running into how I want to do things or how I need to do things or whatever. But yeah, it's how you communicate that, taking into consideration the other person, who they are, honoring that. So just going back to honor and respect and love and care for each other.
Yeah.
And if you right now, the world is crazy, right? There's the younger generation, they're kind of getting a bit nihilistic. Movies like The Joker, if you've seen that, I wasn't impressed.
That was the worst movie, honestly. People said it was good. Like, I don't know when it came out, but I remember everyone talking about it saying it was good. And then we watched it recently and I was like, that was the worst movie ever.
Yeah. That's a man who has no territory.
Yeah.
That's a man that has no purpose for living.
Yeah.
And you get too many people like that together and they just burn shit down. And a wise person once said, don't burn it down if you can't build it. If you can't rebuild it, you have no business burning it down. Like, that's just how you just run into we'll just be living in grass huts if we all do that. Like, you have to really think about what territory is and claim yours through hard work, through figuring out how you integrate with the system, how you want to work with the system, because the system exists, real estate, all that other stuff. So I do want to encourage people to think about these things. That's why this show has so much depth, but it's like, these ideas are very critical, especially now.
Yeah. Well, and what you just said, that's what true sovereignty is. Sovereignty is claiming your space, like claiming your, I heard it explained by someone, and it was the first time I really, truly understood sovereignty. It's like literally claiming the space that you take up. So, because we heard the word sovereign got thrown around a lot during the COVID years and people didn't really fully understand it, but it was spoken about more in the context of our body, right? And being able to make our own health choices and choosing not to take experimental vaccines and whatever. And so that's when someone explained it like that, I was like, that's what that is. And so then that extends out to the lands that you live on and the community that you have. And it's not like it's not an ownership, like I'm coming in to just rape and pillage and take whatever I want. It's a stewardship, it's like this claiming your territory, but you're stewarding, the land and the people and like, that's what true sovereignty is. So,
and that's what ownership for men. This could be this probably will be, mark this down. This is going to be an episode of itself.
All right. We're going to write this down.
Ownership. That's especially on my mind and heart as well. But as men, the men that don't take out the garbage or don't fix up the house when things need fixing or whatever, you're lacking in that ownership. And that can be a bit harsh because I know we got busy lives, we have energy, we have health issues, whatever. But men need to take ownership. We need to lean into that and go into that and not scatter because there's so many feminists that are loud and obnoxious and are screeching in our ears telling us to go away. We don't want you. We don't need you. Men need to just turn the volume down on that in whatever way they're possible and take ownership and care. That's the other thing. That's the other piece. You have to care. But when you take ownership, that's how the trash keeps getting taken out. That's how the plumbing continues to be fixed and corrected. That's how the house doesn't just fall apart or wild animals just come in and carry off your children. Like, you need to take ownership. And that's really, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that episode. All right, guys, we've gone off on such a tangent because we had so many incredible guests and amazing interviews. And for those that we didn't mention, we still loved having, every single guest that we've had on. We absolutely loved it. But we both had the same favorite interview, by far, for different reasons. But our favorite interview was Mark Devine's.
Yeah.
Every experience is extremely unique because you are expression, God. That is a unique expression of God. So forces and culture understand this and try to shape minds to meet their reality. Governments do this, churches do this, media and corporations do this, cults do it. And the whole idea is to get as many people to kind of believe the way you do so that you keep it control. And the best way to do that is through fear. and through disease.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the corporations just lap it up because you're making all this money and they're not trying to do it. They won't do anything about it until they're forced to do anything.
Mhm.
And same thing with the vaccines. If you look at the rates of cancer, they started going up as soon as they started administering vaccines and all sorts of other autoimmune diseases and whatnot. But back to my point, all of this is within our control to change. Right? One of the things I like to say is we have the ability to be the change that we want to see in the world. Gandhi was right. If you want to see change in your world, change your inner world. And then what you experience will change.
Mark Divine, the Navy SEAL commander that I first heard about from the program SEAL Fit back in my Army days. I trained with some Navy SEALs, but before I met the SEALs, I was training with some guys that were from the Marines, and they put me onto this interesting guy. And that actually helped me with some of the mindset stuff, some visualization, and was the first interaction with the idea of yoga not just being for your girlfriend and, whatever. It's like that there's actually a functional use for this that's important for durability and longevity. But what was your experience when I first came and I was like, oh, I want to get Mark Divine on the show? Or I think I just emailed him and then I told you.
Yeah. So, of course, man, that's your manifest energy. Just do it. Don't say anything. Just do it. But anyway, just a little bit of background. I basically do all the guest booking, right? And I reach out to people and whatever. And Isaac, you always say, oh, you're so great at booking everyone and like just getting people on. And Isaac really doesn't, sometimes he'll say, I want to get this person on, but I'll do the reaching out. He didn't even really say anything about Mark. You might have mentioned like, oh, I'd like to get Mark Divine on, but I didn't get his details or anything. And I just one day he's like, so I emailed Mark Divine and he got back to me and he's going to be on the show. And I was like, who is this man? Like, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple. He was like, no, he's really cool. Like he told me a little bit about him. And I watched just a couple of his YouTube videos, just the shortest ones I could find really. And I was like, okay. And I remember one of the ones I watched was something, I think it was from during the COVID years where he talked about fear and not being in fear. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think, it seems pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I didn't know a whole lot about him. And that interview, like I loved that interview for so many reasons, but I think that was a big part of it. And I think I said it on the episode and I stand by it because we actually binged his podcast on our recent trip to Sydney and listened to so many episodes. And I said it again. I was like, this is why I love him so much. Like we need strong masculine men like Mark Divine. Like he's in Australia, we say he's built like a brick shit house. Like he's like, no, like, what does he say? Strong men are hard to kill. Like no one, like he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like he's built and he like trains hard and like looks after his body, but he does all these very yin practices. To me, he's the epitome of a truly integrated man where he's very strong in his masculinity, but he's very integrated in these yin practices like yoga and breath work and meditation and visualization and
way before it became cool.
Yeah, before it was a thing. Way before it was a thing, he was doing that stuff.
Back in the 80s? I think he was in the military in the 80s and he's teaching guys the box breathing that's very popular now. You almost overlook box breathing because there's allotropic and all these other different types, but he's teaching this stuff to guys and he goes into it on the episode about how they reacted to him at first, but he's just one of those guys that doesn't care. He's top of the food chain in the SEALs, and he's like, we're going to be doing some breath work and some yoga, and they're like, that sounds gay, and he's just like, we're going to call it warrior stretching or something. I forget what he called it, but he just like changes the term and just goes anyways and does it because he knows that it's good for you and it's good for his team, and it has an amazing track record of results. Not the yoga so much, but like I'm sure yoga's great. But his story about how he led his team in buds, his whole boat crew to pass buds to graduate, that's phenomenal. I don't think that's happened since or before. Maybe it's happened since. I don't know. But like he said, it's very, very rare for your entire boat crew to all of them go through. So that shows that he can inspire, but he can empower you, give you tools, teach you like what he learned to help him stabilize his emotions and help him be calm under pressure and focused and high performing and all of that to get to the finish line, to get the job done.
Yeah. And I just love what he teaches so much. And it's interesting. That's what I was saying, listening to his podcast was, because I've realized lately for me, like I've really come to this place where I'm like, I really benefit so much more from learning from and working with women. Now, that doesn't mean that like I'm never going to learn from a man, but I have to be very discerning, especially just with my, from a human design perspective, with my energy type. Like I can't like learn, especially like in business, this is where it's played out a lot. Like I can't learn from a generator and implement everything that they do. Like I don't have that energy. But I love learning from Mark Divine, and we have been implementing, like I've started doing box breathing every morning as soon as I wake and every night before I go to sleep. And it has been what an incredible difference just in a couple of weeks of doing that. And I just love, so much of what he teaches it is all about integration. Like, when he talks about the 5 mountains. Well, listen to the podcast episode that we did with him if you haven't already.
Yeah.
But then head over to the Mark Divine show and like take your pick. Like he's got so many great episodes.
Yeah.
And just the stuff that he's teaching, like it's so practical. And, you and I both want to go and do the leadership course that he runs because, I just think that he has so much to offer, whether you're a man or a woman. And I love that about him because it's a lot more common, I think, for men to like kind of be just like, I'm a man and like I'm going to do man things and I'm only going to do man things. It can be hyper masculine for me anyway. But I just think he's, so integrated and just so much to learn from him. Love it.
Yeah. And that's, there's so many things that could go into that as well. It's like masculinity in general. Big conversation.
That'll definitely be a future episode, guys. We can talk about that forever.
But even for me, like I was just reflecting back. It's interesting because I've been doing, I was trying to remember how many years I've been on and off, but I've been pretty consistently using SEAL Fit as part of my training program. That's like how I view training, is the way that they structure it with like your baseline, kind of your warm up, your strength piece, your work capacity, which is like a lot more like heavyweight with volume, and then durability as a functional component of it. But every time I would check in and look at the workouts, it always starts with like your baseline starts with box breathing every single time. I've never done that until after our interview with him. I was like, read that. I'm like, nah, like, I don't know. I still you don't fully get why that integrates into it so well until you do one of his courses or until you like maybe go to their training center in Encinitas or whatever. But using that for us today, like we got up this morning, actually sitting down together, doing box breathing for just a few minutes, like just 5 minutes or whatever. That one little piece of just being still. Men need to master that. Men find it hard to sit there and be still. But when you're still, like you're coming back to some very powerful things and you're centered. And when you proceed from that powerful center, like look out, like whatever it is that you take sight on, you can produce better results with less frustration, less combativeness. Combativeness is good when you need the combativeness, but men need to learn to integrate some of the yin practices. Being hyper masculine doesn't mean more or better masculine. It's just it's like an imbalance of just one form of energy, one way of doing things. It's like the whole, to someone with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Every problem looks like a nail to someone with a hammer. But anyways, we could just keep going. But
well, it's a good segue because we literally binged his podcast on our recent trip to Sydney, which was right at the beginning of January, and that's what I felt. I was just like, I'm going to listen to Mark more often because even after,
and read his books. His books are really, really well written. Yeah,
but even after our interview with him, I'll never forget. I was like, we finished, and I was like, I feel so motivated and inspired. And like, of course, I went and had to look up his human design. I don't know it 100%, but I'm fairly certain there's a very high chance that he's got a defined head and ajna. And because the head is the center for inspiration and ideas. And I was like, he's got to have a defined head because I was feeling that energy. And listening to his podcast, like it really did. Well, and again, I think it was just like simple things because I've like asked guys like all of last year, I was just like, oh, I need to look after myself better. I need to like do the things. I need a routine and whatever. But I just never knew what to do. Like I knew I needed to sit in stillness, but like I don't love meditation. Like I'm not going to lie, guys. Like I don't love, like I can do it. And I've done some really amazing guided meditations and things like that. But like, in that kind of setting, like in a class setting. But when I'm at home, like I don't want to sit and just meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. Like I want to like do something that's where I'm in stillness, but something I can focus on. And so when he was talking about the box breathing and I was like, and he was talking about doing it every morning, I was like, I'm just going to get up and do that every morning. And, you know, that was really like, you know, it started to like where I was just like, I just need like simple things, just needs to be simple. I'm Taurus sun, Capricorn, everything else I always say. I'm just all about keeping it simple. That's really my Taurus nature though. And so I started doing, and I was just like, that's just get up and do 10 minutes of box breathing. And it's so beneficial. And it's really helped me to then structure my days around the things I need to do for myself and not the other way around. Because what was happening last year, and this is also what we want to talk about, we reflect, of course, you know, the new year starts, we all reflect on the year that was. And last year was, look, it wasn't a bad year, but energetically, like looking back, I'm just like, it just felt like pushing shit uphill all year. Like everything felt so hard. And we were in a collective 9 year. You and I had our personal year 9 the year before. So we thought we were already like done with the 9 energy, but no. We were personal year 1, collective year 9. And I definitely underestimated how challenging it would be. But yeah, a lot of 2025 for me was trying to do things for myself to look after myself, but I was trying to fit that in to all of the work that we were doing. And it was really difficult. And so again, taking that break for us was so necessary, because even though we took a break from the podcast, you know, we're still doing markets and, you know, we're still working to some degree, but just even taking off our plate what we could to have that space to recalibrate to like, okay, well, how do we want to be living? You know, and we did some mind mapping and, you know, goal setting, and we really haven't done that at all since we've been together. Like we've talked about our life goals and, you know, our aspirations and like the vision for our life, but we've never actually put pen to paper and been like, this is what we want our lives to look like and what's important to us.
It's so important to do that.
Yeah. And so that was like a big, I think, again, like, you know, we're talking about like sovereignty. That's it's like putting your stake in the ground and being like, this is what we're doing, not hoping and wishing for it. Like, this is what we're doing.
And for me, that's so important for if you want to take your life up a notch, if you want to go to the next level, or you want to accomplish something, do something different, or just get noticeably better at the thing that you're already doing, whether it's, you know, your ability to feed your family, whether it's outside gardening with your business or job or career or whatever, your life purpose. This year, to me, feels like this is the time we really got to get down and get real with like, all right, what's the plan? Do I have a plan? Where's my focus? Where's my energy going? Because when you can focus your energy, then it's like a laser. You can cut through stuff. Whereas last year I felt a bit fadey, like a bit like just a floodlight, lots of energy going forward, but just kind of scattered and spread out, spread too thin.
Yeah.
And this year I'm like, maybe I won't be full laser, but I can come back down to like a spotlight, you know, instead of a floodlight, we're going to a spotlight this year.
Yeah.
And really start taking some big, powerful steps forward. And that's what I want this show to do for others, is to help. If you're a practitioner of some sort, if you're a healer, if you're, you know, a naturopath, homeopath, multipath, whatever path, and you want to maybe make more of an impact. Maybe you're going to start a website. Maybe you're going to start an online course, or you're going to do your own program in person or workshops. You know, Alexa's doing, you know, she's done some in-person and online stuff with her, you know, teaching and showing the way with human design and Site K. I feel like all of us are doing amazing work. And for those of us that want to like shine the light a little brighter, it's going to take a little bit more focus and a little more care about ourselves. So all these things come together into that, this union is like vortex of power that it's fun. You don't have to, like, you can stay at home and just watch Netflix all day and just chill and just like tune out this year. This year I think is going to go by pretty quick, and there's some really potent, juicy, amazing energies with us this year coming into February with these celestial alignments. You know, Saturn moving out of was it Pisces going into Aries. That's a big start. You know, for me, it's very important personally, but this is a year to get things going, because the next 28 years, how you start this cycle, I think is going to continue. That's tends to be how things go. When you start something, the way you start it is kind of how it goes.
Well, and also it being a collective 1 year this year, the one energy is literally the beginning of a new 9-year cycle.
Yeah.
So, which is very interesting, because I recently posted there's been a trend on social media, on Instagram, of like posting from 2016, which I get like that's a decade ago. I don't know if people were just doing it. I don't know where the trend came from, but I was like, I'm not one to jump on trends, but I was like, oh, I love a good trip down memory lane. So, and it was very interesting because going back, so 2016 was a 9-year, so cycles ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2017 was a 1 year. And it's very interesting because 2016 was the year that I got my breast implants. It was also the year that I met my second boyfriend, which, yeah, like lots of lessons learned just in that relationship alone. But then looking at it from what's interesting actually was I met my ex at the end of 2016, which is usually when like the one energy, like the energy of the year ahead starts to come through. And looking back now, and you know, we're in the 1 year now, and a lot of the cycles came to an end last year. It's so interesting to see like where I was at that point and where I am now. And it's like, you know, with that, you know, hindsight's 2020, it's just, again, like, it's like so clear. And like the lessons that I needed to learn, a lot of them started in 2016. So crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, very, very interesting to look back on that. But yeah, the 1 year, we're starting a new 9-year cycle, but it's also Year of the Horse is about to begin. This will air the first week of Feb, and the 17th of Feb is Chinese New Year. So that Year of the Horse, and especially with all of these astrological transits, all the outer planets are moving into fire and air signs. Mm-hmm. And then you've got that year, you know, the horse energy, like things are going to move really quick this year.
Unless it's a slow horse. I mean, but a horse on fire is pretty fast. I would imagine they would run really fast.
Yeah, it's definitely like lots of like, you know, it's action. And it's also it's yang. It's pure yang energy. Like the snake is very yin.
To I don't know Chinese astrology that well, but a horse to me is like, you think about what a horse is used for, like for transportation, for movement, for carrying cargo and mail and carts and whatever you would carry in a cart, pulling something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, plowing the fields, like, you know, building. So, yeah, this is a great year to really take a look at what do you want to grow? What do you want to build? What do you want to see more of in your life?
Yeah.
What do you need to let go of that'll let you free you up to go and chase those dreams? And our show is definitely in this realm of like, you know, we're very interested in personal development, very interested in personal empowerment to you, our listeners, and also these group dynamics and how we can come together to be more effective communities, more fun. I think I want to bring more fun in this year, although it's going to be a hard work year for sure. But you got to sprinkle some fun in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll keep the jokes coming. We'll keep some of the blooper reels going this year as much as we can. And
follow us on socials for the bloopers.
Yeah. I mean, if I become more and more of a perfect broadcaster, then I won't make mistakes and there won't be any bloopers. So
we'll always have bloopers, guys. Trust me.
Yeah. But this I'm looking forward to, and I'm grateful for everyone that's tuned in. This is supported by you, this whole show, and Natural Art Form. That was the other thing that was really special for me with Mark Divine, was getting the feedback, but being able to help him. I just naturally just want to help people, but Mark Divine started something called SEAL Fit, which is a very, very intense training program, sort of inspired, not by just the Navy SEALs, but by his specific mission in the Navy, which was to help create more durable military athletes that were actually physically capable of surviving and graduating SEAL training. And SEAL Fit became that physical training program for future special operations soldiers. That training program led to me overworking a bit and my shoulder got weakened, which ultimately led to me making the first product that I made called Alleviate, from that just weakened shoulder that just kept coming back, and really bringing me to a point of taking a hard look at the pharmaceuticals that I was taking and whether or not they were actually doing what I wanted them to and what the cost was. And so I made an alternative. Fast forward to our interview with Mark. We had to reschedule that interview because he was on a snowmobile going 60 miles an hour, flew off, and he's like, I'm going to say late 50s.
No, he's in his 60s.
Okay.
He's early 60s.
Good. If I would have led with 60s and he was actually in his 50s, then I would have...
No, he looks amazing for 60s. He's actually in his 60s, which is wild.
So imagine anybody else in your life in their 60s flying off a snowmobile going 60 miles an hour, which is like...
Well, he could have died. If he'd hit a tree, he probably would have died.
He did.
No. He himself had flown into a tree.
He did.
No, the snowmobile did.
He hit a tree and it shattered his shoulder blade into 18 pieces.
Are you sure he hit the tree?
Pretty sure. You don't.
Guys,
like,
go
what
back.
Shattered his shoulder blade into 18
Go
pieces?
back and listen to the episode and fact check us, because he did
please.
tell us in the episode, but we've forgotten.
In my head, he hit a tree and he
No, I think
probably
he said
could have died.
he was about to, and he moved, but his shoulder took the whole impact when he fell, like on the ground. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure he hit a tree. Anyways, like he said, strong people are harder to kill than weaker people.
And in any case, he very much could have died. Like, it was very serious.
When we interviewed him, he'd already, and I'd seen his update in the Seal Fit and the Mighty apps on their community there, and he was post surgery and stuff like that, but he was doing all right. So I was like, right away, I emailed him. I was like, I want to send you a couple jars. Give me your address. So I sent him a couple jars of Alleviate, and then I told him that story briefly on the episode about, this was created sort of as a result of what you created. And here you go. There's something to help you heal faster.
Another full circle moment.
Yeah. So that was just like the pun. It was divine.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's just, it's so weird. I'm just like, there's a weird, just something about that. Like I just instinctually, I was like, I wanted to follow Mark Divine from like the moment I read his books. I was like, oh, this is valuable stuff. I've still got a couple of his books back in the States, but never like watched his YouTube, never like, followed his podcast. And then we interviewed him. I was like, wow, it's actually a lot deeper than what I thought. And it's just, the admiration I have, but the spiritual groundedness and how important it is now in this transition period. There's some really important things. If you can lock in on some of these habits, disciplines, practices, that's going to help you lead yourself into whatever you want to accomplish really well.
Yeah. So this is our first episode back, guys. And look, it's a little over an hour, but it was our first episode back in like over a month.
Yeah, there's a lot of catch up on. If you try to review a whole year in one episode, it's difficult to keep it short and cover everything that we really want to cover.
It's difficult for us to keep it short at the best of times. So. But next week, we are going to have our friend Sarah Norris on. She's an astrologer. We're going to be talking about the archetypes in astrology, which I just always find fascinating. Isaac and I have a huge love for astrology for many reasons.
Yeah, she's going to be doing a presentation. So if you want to take notes, I highly encourage it.
Yeah, and that's definitely one to watch. And she's also going to take us through some of the major transits happening this year, which we just mentioned earlier. And I'm here for it. I'm so here for all these changes that are happening, but you want to be prepared. So that's why she's going to take us through everything that's going on astrologically, cosmologically. And you can prepare yourself for the year ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening. Support the show. Do it by sharing the episodes, liking it, commenting on our show. Communicate with us, like I said, through Substack at the beginning. If you're not a member already there, just go to Substack, look for Natural AF Podcast. You'll find us there.
Yeah. All of our links are in the show notes as well.
Yep. Go to the show notes. And if you're a listener to this show, we have a line of amazing products, natural, holistic health products, from topical body repair, injury recovery type stuff, deodorant, and regenerative cream. You can use it on your face. You can use it on sunburns, blisters, things like that. These are all as clean as possible that we can make these amazing remedies. So clean, healthy, effective. And you can get 10% off every order as a listener to the show using code NaturalAF10 at checkout at naturalartform.com. So stay in contact with us on that. Our newsletter is a good one to sign up for. If you're local, if you're traveling through the Northern Rivers in Australia and you want to, see us at the markets, our newsletter will have all our market dates and any updates coming. And we've got big things coming this year.
Yeah, that's actually another thing we're changing up while we're on that. Another thing we're changing up this year is our monthly newsletter that goes out. And we want to provide more value to our loyal customers and to the people that subscribe to us. And really, it's going to be a lot more of a highlight of the knowledge that Isaac has, because, as we spoke about earlier with the bunya, he loves to test things out and try things, and, he'll learn about stuff, but then he's like, well, what else can I do with it? And often he's trying to find, in his true man gen spirit, he's always trying to find like the quickest and best way, the most efficient way to do things. And quite often he's finding a better way to do things. So Yeah, we've actually got a big announcement coming in this February newsletter.
Cool.
So Isaac is actually we're making our own herbal oil extracts now in the Natural Art Form kitchen, which is super exciting. So we were already buying in really high quality stuff, but Isaac's like, no, I want it to be even better. And so we're going to share more about like the processes that he makes. And so people can actually do this at home as well. Like we're not gatekeeping anything over here.
Yeah.
Like we want people to have access to this stuff. So whether or not you buy our products, sign up for the newsletter. We're going to just be chock-a-block. That's an Aussie term. We're just going to chock-a-block it full of, value and, information and stuff that you can actually like, practical applications in your life when it comes to natural things, herbs, food, all the things that we love and all the things that keep you staying natural AF.
So yeah, keep it fun, keep it light, keep it real tight, and we'll catch you next time on Natural AF.
Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Natural AF podcast, where we explore holistic healing modalities, mindsets, and methods that reconnect us to nature and our natural state of being.
If something resonated, share this episode and see the show notes for our guest links, as well as all of our discount codes for our aligned affiliates and Natural Art Form, where we handcraft a range of organic, natural remedies to help support your body's natural healing abilities and help support the show.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please take a few seconds to leave us a rating and review. And if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, hit the like button and drop us a comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.
We're not here to conform, we're here to remember what's real. So step into your power, be curious, and be natural AF.